What's up, folks? It's your favorite sorcerer, Aurelius Sopax. Beginning my day with a coffee. Look at this. Vous avez le don de changer le monde. You have the gift to change the world. Let's let that be our motto today. Okay. So, the reason why I'm doing this video is because there are certain things that need to be clarified. And I'm going to call this video How to Recognize a Master Magician. How to recognize a master magician. I'm of the opinion that you should operate with clear formulas when it comes to everything. An amateur in this world doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. They throw spaghetti at the wall and they hope something sticks. Somebody that is competent and confidence. Competence and confidence are one and the same thing. They're two sides of the same coin. Operates with exact formulas, with actions that create repetitive and repeatable results. That's the difference between an amateur and a master. So the question that I want to answer in this video is how to recognize a master magician. In order to explain that, we need to define a couple other things. What is magic? Well, in this universe, we operate with four primary barriers. We have matter, we have energy, we have space and time. Those are the barriers in our universe. Magic allows us to break through those barriers and break the rules in a way. Magic is action at a distance. Okay? Action at a distance. So the barriers of matter, energy, space, and time are, in some way or another, connected. You know, Einstein taught us through E equals mc squared that energy and matter are somehow connected. Actually, they're interchangeable because matter is just condensed energy. And through general relativity, we know that time, space, energy, all of that is a continuum. Okay? They affect each other. Space is not an absolute. Time is not an absolute. Energy is not an absolute. All of these things interact with each other. With enough energy, any material barrier can be broken. And any obstacle to your will is just an energetic barrier, whether that's a wall or the contradictory intentions of people, the will of another person that needs to be overcome. That's all energy, you see. So one of the most important factors when it comes to magic is energy. Actually, it is the most important factor because we use energy. In a ritual, what we're doing is we're directing energy towards a specific intention. And if there's enough energy in the spell, it can cross space. Space is no longer a barrier. So you can affect things at a distance. Yes, you can you can break the barrier of space. Okay. The same with time. If there's enough energy in the spell, you can do retrocausal magic. You can affect the past and the future, of course, as well. So time is not an absolute barrier. It's a question of how much energy is in there. Space, time, matter. Matter is just a resistance, okay? Can be stronger, like a material barrier, but you can use spells to create real physical damage. Of course, it's possible to cast a spell that breaks somebody's bones. You can also cast a spell that heals somebody, which also is like requires energy to put things back in order. All of that is possible. So the primary factor in your magic is energy. So I think it makes sense that one of the factors that separates an amateur from a master magician is how much energy they can generate in the spell, because that will determine the strength of their magic. But that, once again, requires some other elements. Okay, so I have people reaching out to me But rather recently, I had somebody reaching out to me wanting to become my student and study my stuff. And so this person, I don't think he's a bad person at all. I think he has a good heart and all that stuff. But that person was not able to listen. Like, he was constantly, as I was speaking, he was constantly throwing his own stuff in there. I'm assuming the intention behind that was to show me how smart he was, or how fast he can kind of like finish my sentences for me based on the videos that he's watched. That's not a good sign, man. That's not a good sign. Because what's actually going on there is, see, an exchange of energy. See, if you can't receive and then send energy back, and you can see that in people's communication, you can see that in people's body language. If a person is not able to have a good communication, meaning they speak, they receive, confirm the message, and then send a response back, and finish a communication cycle. If that's not possible in a smooth way, that person in some way or another has fucked up energy vectors within their mind. Once again, the mind is not in your nervous system. The mind is an energy field around the person. I'm sure you can imagine that is in some way or another connected to magic and the manifestations in their lives itself. Life is nothing but an energy exchange. It's one big energetic system where energy flows through different conduits, conductors of energy. You are nothing but a conductor of energy, and you're connected to the universe in some way or another. The more fucked up that connection with the universe is, the more problems will occur inside of the system, and the energy that comes in will be processed in an incorrect and wrong and fucked up way, and the what comes out of that is also going to be fucked up. It's like a pipeline. There's energy flowing around you. Let's say that's water. You are a pipeline through which that water flows. The outflow is the result of what happened in here. So the pipeline, the quality of the pipeline is extremely important. The better constructed the pipeline, the better kept it is, and the more smooth it is, and the thicker it is, the bigger it is, the more of that energy can come through, you see? And that is something that is almost never discussed. I don't give a fuck how much you've read about the occult. Doesn't fucking matter, okay? Because I promise you, listen, I've met them, I know about them. I'm one of those guys myself. Not the people that study too much. Of course I studied as well, okay? Of course I have a lot of knowledge about the occult. But what I'm trying to say is essentially, I've met people in fucking jungles that have never read a fucking book about any of this. They've been trained from birth. Shamans, okay? Magicians, tribal people. They never heard about the fucking Kabbalah. They don't give a fuck about your esoteric Western occult traditions or secret societies. Nobody gives a fuck. But these people will wipe the floor with all of that. These are people that fucking levitate. These are the things that you would see in movies. Real fucking magic. I've seen it, done it, experienced it every single day. Compare that to a Western armchair occultist with this fucking shelves of, bookshelves, fucking nerds, geeks. And these people can't even get a banishing done. But what they have is words, incoherent concepts, and a vague idea that there's something called magic out there, and they think it's in initiatory orders and all that shit. The point that I'm making is none of this bullshit matters. What matters most? I mean, this is maybe 4% of the equation. The overwhelming majority of the equation is the internal structure of the person, how much of that energy they can let flow through them. Okay, this is particularly a problem in the Western world, in Western society. For some reason, during the epistemological development of Western philosophy, they created and inserted a distinction between body and mind. This is the root cause of all of this bullshit, you know? A distinction between body and mind, which creates a separation and prevents a more perfect flow of this universal life force, which allows for a more powerful form of magic. See? That has many, many, many implications. But one of those is that people are, you know, usually at the level of the Manipura chakra, there's a break. The energy can't flow smoothly through the Manipura chakra at that level. So somewhere inside of those energy structures, the energy flow gets messed up. So the point is, the better the magician, the more of that energy can flow freely. And that is primarily dependent on an internal structure. We have to operate with exact formulas. Exact formulas. How do you identify a master magician? A master magician, when you speak with them, when you learn from them, you get the feeling that they understand you better than you understand yourself. They teach you about your own mind, and boom. Wow, I didn't know that. Yes, because that person has to guide you, you see. And they have to have an understanding about the mind that allows you to open up those channels again. Okay. You have to have a certain structure. I call that the character. I call that the internally in my organizations, we call that the character. There's a certain internal structure that is based on a framework of ethical behavior that creates an energy field, an internal infrastructure that allows more of that energy to flow through. There is absolutely a correct way of living and an incorrect way of living. Within this frame of correct living, there are there's a lot of variety. Okay, it doesn't mean that everybody has to do the same work, everybody has to do the same job, everybody has to follow. It's not even about everybody following the same purpose, but they have to, for example, follow their purpose. Once again, all of the answers can be found in nature. All of the answers can be found in nature. So, in a forest, everything is there for a reason. It is part of an ecosystem, and every single plant, every single leaf, every single tree, every single bird, they all have a specific job to do. And it is a natural process. Their living process harmonizes them with the universe, and in turn, the universe provides for them and allows them to exist, continue to exist. We have that too. But those purposes are a little bit more complex than, let's say, the purpose of a leaf. Okay? But you are a spiritual being that has a very, very, very important job to do. And that is intimately tied with the power of your magic. Not everybody can do what I can do. There are many people on the internet that try to teach magic, but they can't do that because it's not their purpose. But when I speak, because it is connected to my purpose, you can feel it. You can feel the truth of my words. Because it is my purpose flowing through me. Because it is, and that purpose is harmonized with the universe. So I just become a vessel. It's not this. It's not this body. It is an energy, a frequency that is speaking through me. And you can feel it. You have a purpose as well. And that purpose is intimately connected to your ability to do magic. Okay. There's a correct way of living, a correct way of building your internal infrastructure, which is what? A code of ethics, a code of conduct. That's an internal infrastructure, a way of living. Now, there's a lot more to that, which I can't go into it, of course, right now, because this is a video that is going to be shared with the public, not with my students and my organizations. But there's a correct way of living and an incorrect way of living. And when you live correctly, everything unfolds. It's like many energy vectors and pipelines through which energy has to flow. Your belief system, your ethics, how you do things, how you don't do things. Is everything streamlined with your purpose, with your energy? Everything that you fucking do is significant. There's nothing insignificant. And those of you in my order, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So everything has to be streamlined, harmonized with your purpose. And at that point, now massive energy can come through. And that is the secret to powerful magic. Okay? So the energy that you put into it. But that energy source is not you. That energy source is not your physical body. Your physical body cannot generate enough energy to do retrocausal magic. Your physical body does not generate enough energy to cause action at a distance. It's not even your emotions that do that. It is you being connected to a battery and an energy source that is way greater than you. And the better of a vessel you are for this force, the wider you can open yourself for it, the more powerful your magic. So how do you recognize a master magician? A master magician makes you understand yourself better than before. That is also the job of a mentor. A mentor is not necessarily there to give you information, because in the age of Google and ChatGPT and AI and all that stuff, that is not important. A mentor is somebody that makes you ask questions that you would not have asked yourself. He expands your vision and he raises your consciousness. He transmits a specific frequency. This is what a master magician and a true mentor does. A master magician is somebody that you have a conversation with about magic, and instead of him giving you a specific ritual, instead of him giving you another god name, another this and that and the other, another hierarchy of angels, you walk away from that conversation and you see life differently. You have a conceptually new understanding about how life works and what it actually is. This is a master magician. And every conversation that you have with that master magician leaves you changed. You change. And the more time you spend with that person, the more your mind begins to resemble the mind of the universe. The source of true wisdom and the ability to look through the matrix, the spirit prison matrix, as I like to call it, is not your ego or your ego identity. It is your connection to your daemon, which will then allow you to see through the illusions. So that many times, what exists physically, what we can see with the physical senses, is 0.03%. So literally everything else that matters is, and what actually matters, is invisible. So you have to use other senses to operate in this world in order to get those results. So before I start repeating myself, I'm going to wrap this up here, but amateurs share information. This demon, that demon, this demon, that demon. I did this ritual, I did that ritual, I did this ritual, that ritual. Wow, really? You did a reading and you actually got something right for once? You tried 99 fucking times and one time you got something kind of right in your reading, and now you're like, oh, I'm such a great, communicator with the spirits. Pussies. A master magician speaks with the voice of the universe. When he speaks, you tremble, but not because he's yelling or because he's loud, but because his voice carries the heaviness of the universe. And when he speaks, the words disarm you, but not because it's force, because they expose the untruth that you are carrying within yourself, and you are left with more lightness, light, and truth. And you feel the energy starting to flow again. The energy within you, the subtle energies begin to flow again. You know, can you feel the goosebumps? This is another indicator that you're hearing truth. A lot of you right now are feeling goosebumps. A lot of you are feeling your chi begin to flow again. This is the feeling of, goosebumps and subtle energy. I am the voice of truth because I speak. I let my daemons speak through me, which is connected to the universe in harmony with it. This is how you recognize a master magician. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.